In this video, we're diving into a complex and sensitive topic: the recent closures and crackdowns on Islamic institutions across Europe, particularly in Ireland, France, Germany, and Sweden, as governments address concerns over Islamist radicalism. This is a story of security, community tensions, and the delicate balance between freedom and safety. Let's break it down. First, let's start in Ireland, where the Islamic Cultural Centre of Ireland, or ICCI, in Dublin, the country's largest mosque complex, was abruptly closed in April 2025. This wasn't a random decision. On April 19th, a heated altercation broke out during a meeting at the center, so serious that the Garda Í, Ireland's police, had to step in. The center's management called it an unprecedented and distressing attack on the mosque and its board, sparked by an internal dispute among the congregation. Things escalated when credible threats emerged, including plans by a faction to forcibly occupy the premises. Fearing for safety, the newly appointed board shut the gates, with Garda Í and private security guards stationed outside to prevent any breach. So, what's the background here? The ICCI, established in 1996, is funded by the UAE-based Al Maktoum Foundation, which pumps about $2.5 million into the center annually. Recently, the foundation installed a new board and launched investigations into the center's management, alleging financial irregularities, like mishandling charity funds and possible links to extremist ideology, specifically ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, which the UAE labels a terrorist organization. This created a power struggle: the Gulf-funded board versus the mosque's longtime leaders. The new board accused the old guard of decades of mismanagement, exclusionary control, and fostering a hardline ethos, claiming they failed to represent the diversity of Irish Muslims. They pointed to elements with ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, and even noted that mosque officials refused to hand over financial records from the Quranic school. The closure's immediate trigger was safety. After the April 19th clash, where staff and board members were reportedly assaulted, the board received intelligence about plans to storm the compound. They deemed it impossible to keep the center open, locking the mosque, school, and facilities to the public. The board says this is a painful but necessary step to protect worshippers and audit the center's finances, governance, and ties. A board representative stated, "Extremism cannot be tolerated. The events of April 19th were not demonstrative of the true essence of Islam," emphasizing reform in line with Islamic values and Irish law. Garda oversight and extra security are in place as they sort this out. The Muslim Brotherhood link is a key concern, though Irish authorities haven't accused the ICCI of terrorism. It's more about ideological influence than violent plots. The Irish Muslim Peace and Integration Council, a moderate group, supported the board, calling the closure the culmination of 3 decades of failed leadership and criticizing those prioritizing power over service. The community's reaction has been mixed. Worshippers found the mosque locked, some praying on the sidewalk, a powerful image of devotion amid uncertainty. No major protests have occurred, but tensions linger, with fears of further agitation. Meanwhile, leaders like Sheikh Dr. Umar al-Qadri hope the closure is temporary and leads to a more inclusive mosque. Now let's shift to France, where the government has taken a hard line on what it calls Islamist separatism. Since the mid-2010s, France has faced devastating terror attacks. Think Bataclan, Charlie Hebdo, and the 2020 beheading of teacher Samuel Paty. These tragedies fueled President Emmanuel Macron's crackdown, formalized in the 2021 separatism law, which tightened oversight of religious associations, schools, and mosques. France has dissolved extremist groups, closed mosques and schools, and cut foreign funding promoting radical Islam. For example, at least 5 Muslim schools have been shut since 2017 for failing secular standards or administrative issues. Mosques have been inspected, some closed for preaching Islamist ideas or safety violations used as a pretext. Macron frames this as protecting laïcité, French secularism, and security, targeting radical Islam, not Islam itself. The goal is to stop Islamist networks encouraging Muslims to reject French laws and form separate enclaves. France has banned foreign-trained imams, pushed for domestically trained ones, and blocked funding from countries like Turkey or Qatar. Recent incidents, like the 2023 murder of a teacher in Arras and a 2024 stabbing, prompted further measures, faster deportations, bans on groups spreading hate, and even prohibiting the abaya in schools. A high-profile case was the defunding of Averroes Islamic High School in Lille, despite its strong academics, for alleged secular breaches. French officials defend these steps as necessary, but critics, including Muslim councils, argue they infringe on religious freedom and alienate ordinary Muslims. Public support for anti-terror measures is strong, but some feel the policies stigmatize the Muslim community, risking resentment. In Germany, the approach focuses on intelligence and selective bans. A major move was the July 2024 ban of the Islamic Center Hamburg, a Shiite organization accused of being Iran's direct representative and supporting Hezbollah, a designated terrorist group. The ban involved raids across 8 states, asset seizures, and mosque closures. Interior Minister Nancy Faeser clarified this targeted extremists, not peaceful Shiite worship. Germany's security agency monitors hundreds of Islamist entities, including Salafist and Muslim Brotherhood groups. While the Brotherhood isn't banned, discussions about prohibiting it are growing. Germany also uses imam training, prevention projects, and expulsions, like deporting an Iraqi imam praising ISIS to curb extremism. Public support is strong, especially after attacks like the 2024 Solingen stabbing, but some warn bans could drive extremism underground. Sweden, traditionally open, has toughened up due to ISIS returnees and incidents like the 2017 Stockholm attack. In 2023, a new anti-terror law criminalized joining or supporting groups like ISIS, and Sweden began deporting extremist influencers like an Iranian cleric in 2025 linked to intelligence operations. A democracy criterion now blocks state funds to religious groups violating democratic values, as seen with the Imam Ali Center's funding cut. Sweden's moves are driven by NATO pressures, Quran-burning backlash, and a rising terror threat. The public supports stricter measures, but some Muslims worry about a chill on legitimate religious work. So, is the US behind these crackdowns? Not directly. Europe's actions stem from local security challenges: France's terror history, Germany's Iranian concerns, Sweden's NATO bid. The US encourages hard lines on groups like Hezbollah and shares intelligence, but these policies are homegrown, driven by domestic politics and public demand. American think tanks may cheer Europe's tough stance, but there's no evidence of explicit US orders. Finally, Europe pairs these crackdowns with anti-radicalization strategies: community engagement, online content removal, prison de-radicalization, monitoring, and counter-messaging. The EU's framework, Prevent, Protect, Pursue, Respond, guides this, with programs like the Radicalization Awareness Network sharing best practices. These efforts aim to shrink the pool of potential extremists while neutralizing immediate threats. In conclusion, Europe's response to Islamist radicalism blends firm enforcement with prevention, reflecting a growing intolerance for extremism, violent or ideological. From Ireland's mosque closure to France's laws, Germany's bans, and Sweden's deportations, the continent is adapting to evolving threats while striving to uphold liberal values. The challenge is balancing security with freedom, ensuring communities aren't alienated in the process.